There's a version of you with an opinion worth listening to, a sharp mind and real depth, but unfortunately, it's buried under everything you've accepted at face value and rarely questioned. And while most people think the fix is knowing more, reading more, consuming more, being informed, it is not. Because being informed fills you up, but being smart is what actually changes how you think. And that's what we're discussing. So let's dive in and see how we can make learning an automatic, almost passive process. And it starts with something deceptively simple, which happens to make you a better socializer, and that is refuse to accept a shallow understanding of anything. And I don't mean being curious in passing. I mean demanding a deeper explanation rather than being satisfied with surface level answers. If something catches your eye, don't just admire it. Ask, how does it work? How is it built? Where was it made? There is something to learn from every single thing and every single person as well. And even with mundane things like the street light, the manhole cover you've walked over 100 times and never wondered why it looks the way it does, the tree at your neighbor's house, no piece of information is useless because each piece is a thread to another. And this is also what makes you a better socializer, not because you know more and you're more intellectual and you're better than others, but because the more random threads you've pulled on, the more ground of different topics you've covered, the more entry points you have into other people's lives. For example, you meet someone into urban planning and suddenly that random fact about the manhole cover you searched last week is no longer random. It's a conversation starter. You meet someone into hiking and that tree at your neighbor's house that turned out to be poisonous is an actual starting point. You're never sitting there with nothing to add. And this brings me to my next idea, which is enroll in the school of life, and that requires you to spend more time doing nothing. Whether you're using your daily commute, waiting in line for your food, tilt your heads up from your phone for a little bit and just observe the mechanics of life. Car types, ingredients on the menu, look around at the decor, what colors work together, read the room, psychoanalyze people's professions based on how they carry themselves. It trains you to be more astute. And what you don't know, ask. And there's no shame in that. And I hate when people throw the word ignorant as an insult left and right. There's a lot that you know that I don't, and there's a lot that I know that you don't. In fact, smart people are the most humble because the more you know, the more you realize how much you don't know. So when you hear a fact, don't just accept it, sit with it and question it. Demand a deeper explanation. So ask when, why, how, by how much, what if, different scenario, what is the origin, the purpose, how does this offer value to me? How can I use it? And if you're someone who reads a lot and listens to podcasts and you encounter a concept that you don't understand, please don't skip over it. There is no merit, at least for me, in reading a whole book or even 10 that I don't fully understand. I'd rather read 5 pages that I know by heart. And a good way I can test my understanding is asking myself, can I simplify this in 1 or 2 sentences? And if I can't, then I haven't fully grasped it. Because true understanding survives compression. You're able to strip away all the unnecessary weak fluff and elaborations and keep the strong key ideas, which actually makes your arguments stronger and more direct. This is how you actually take yourself from informed to informed and smart through processing and questioning and rumination. Because real learning moves past passive consumption of information and into processing and integration. You're able to connect threads until you weave something original, something that's actually yours. Now, none of this matters if it's only in your head. And what I mean by that is intelligence isn't just knowing and processing, it's integrating. It's that knowledge surviving contact with your own behavior, not just your thoughts. So if you know something and it doesn't change the way you behave, then you've just memorized it. You've wasted your time. If you really understand it, you would know the value of it and apply it. Because real intelligence and understanding isn't just holding ideas, it's these ideas having a hold on you, them actually being load-bearing on your decisions. So if you know something is bad for you and you do it anyway, you're teaching yourself that your own judgment does not direct your decisions, and that actually harms your self-trust in the long term. If you've ever wondered why it's very hard to start working on something, that could be it. I actually have a video on that. So what happens is your self-trust erodes slowly one time after the other, and you teach yourself that you're not someone who keeps their word. So even if you have the abilities and the skill, you don't believe in yourself anymore. Your brain doesn't believe you. So this is basically walking the walk, not just talking the talk. It's being smart in your actions, not just in your thoughts. But I know it's hard to hold all this information and then apply it. Like, are you kidding me? That's a lot. But a good trick, a borderline memory technique that I use is I ask myself, why should I care about this? Why does it matter to me? What value does it offer? This makes it more personal, more relevant, and more memorable. So now you've built this interconnected web of knowledge, your ideas, opinions, and thoughts and facts, but it's only as good as what went into it. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of inaccurate, biased information out there, which is why discernment has never been more important. And I don't mean the obvious stuff of Wikipedia versus peer-reviewed studies. No, we're past that. I mean noticing when a specific scientist or study or research leans a specific way or to a specific political ideology, or when your favorite journalist that you never questioned, or even your algorithm and the media outlets that you follow, whether they frame things in a way that only pushes their agenda or supports their point of view, not showing the full picture, because that happens so quietly and discreetly. And it's definitely something worth looking out for, because how you judge information is just as important as how you study it. Here's the thing though, all of this, the curiosity, the rumination, the questioning, the opinions, it's still you and yourself. The second someone else pushes back, it becomes much harder to hold on to any of it and to communicate it clearly. That is a whole different type of intelligence, and definitely a conversation for another day. So if unlocking the power of your mind is something you're interested in, this is what I talk about here. Consider subscribing, and until the next one, take care.